Broadly speaking, there are 5 main ways to contest a will. The first is where the will fails to meet the necessary legal formalities. Those are set out in the Wills Act 1837. Section 9 confirms that a will must be in writing, signed by the person making the will, and it should be made or acknowledged in the presence of 2 witnesses present at the same time. Those witnesses must then sign the will in the presence of the person who made it, known as the testator. The second ground is where a testator lacks the necessary mental capacity, known as testamentary capacity, in the context of contesting a will. That test is laid out in the 1870 case of Banks and Goodfellow, which confirms that a person must understand that they're making a will and its effect, know the nature and value of their estate, broadly speaking, understand the consequences of including and excluding certain people, and not be suffering from any disorder of the mind which may influence their views. The third ground is what's termed lack of knowledge and approval of the content of the will. Even if the will appears to be validly executed and a person had mental capacity, if they weren't aware of the contents of the will, or there were some suspicious circumstances that may lead to the will being invalid. The fourth ground is where a person has been unduly influenced into making a will. Persuasion alone isn't unlawful, but pressure, which is said to overpower the free will of a person, can lead to a will being invalid for undue influence. One form of undue influence is known as fraudulent calumny, and that's where a person influences another to exclude certain persons from a will on the basis of false aspersions, lies basically. On the note of fraud, if a will or any part of it was obtained by reason of fraud, then that will or that part of it will be invalid. You can also contest a will if any part of it was forged. A common example of this is where the signature has been forged. In that case, the will is invalid and it can also lead to criminal convictions. Other options which can be explored are arguing that the document isn't in fact a will, arguing that it's been revoked by a later will or subsequent action, arguing that a person is prevented from leaving certain assets in their will due to a prior agreement or promises, or where there's any doubt or ambiguity about the terms of the will, looking to construe its true meaning or to rectify that will.